Set in 1945, right during the Second World War, the story focuses on a group of soldiers, an army unit tasked with manning a tank they have named Fury, led by a fierce sergeant named Don. This group of 4 becomes the luckiest team among the rest. They often manage to survive when on the battlefield, even though the enemy, the German army, possesses a massive number of troops and sophisticated, complete weaponry. However, with anger, alias Fury, along with conviction, discipline, and the perfection of love, they manage to get through it all, like a storm passing in the morning. Arrived at the camp, Don immediately takes down one of his men who has died so he can be taken care of and sent home to his family. He is also welcomed by colleagues from other teams who also survived. A sergeant major leading the whole team is quite surprised to learn that only Don and his team managed to survive from the 3rd platoon that went into battle. What's interesting is, in front of his men, Don always looks tough and intentionally appears that way to maintain the mental stability of his team. But behind the scenes, Don is just an ordinary man who also experiences mental shock and feels the fear of death. Not long after, a young soldier named Norman appears, a friend who has only been in the military for 3 months. He is assigned by the leadership to be the replacement for Don's man who just died. Briefly hesitating and refusing to accept him, Don has no other choice, besides the fact that this is an order from superiors. Norman tries to get acquainted with Don's 3 men. Among them is Boyd, the close friend of Optimus Prime, and the calmest person among the others. Gordo, the Mexican-faced guy, and Grady, the cruel king who has the most annoying character of them all.
Can I please have my book back?
Hey, hush up, man. Nobody gives a where you from.
Norman's first task is to clean the inside of the tank. There, Norman finds several photos stuck to the wall. They are photos of Don's family and his men. They already consider this tank as a home and a place to live. But the problem is, Norman has to clean up a huge amount of blood and body remains from the previous member, which is enough to make him vomit air. Not long after, seeing one German soldier who was captured and is about to be interrogated, Don gets emotionally triggered and almost beats him. This becomes proof that Don hates and is always angry at the enemy.
Get back!
It's me. You got MPs everywhere. You gotta stop now.
Don gives a firearm to Norman and tells Grady to teach him. Don and several other sergeants are called by the superior to receive a new assignment, which is to take over a town while meeting other members already there. On the journey to the location, Don and his entourage cross paths with native German civilians who are victims of the war. One of them is a young woman walking alone, which sparks a conversation, chatting, and typical adult remarks. Because Boyd is known to be very religious and anti-indecent things, Grady playfully teases Boyd by telling him to imagine strange things with the woman just now. As a result, a little fight happens between the two of them, but it is successfully broken up by Don, ending with them laughing together.
Why does that bother you so
Stop,
much?
fool! I'll shoot you! I'll shoot you, I
Knock
swear!
it off. Knock off the horseplay.
While passing a small path, Norman accidentally sees an enemy soldier behind the bushes. Instead of shooting immediately and alerting the others, Norman just stays silent, which makes the enemy attack first. Consequently, the sergeant major at the very front becomes a victim, and that makes Don incredibly angry.
Norman!
I'm really sorry, Sergeant.
You chop him off!
Sergeant!
Right here, Gordo.
Upon arriving at the destination, Don immediately meets a captain who is quite surprised to hear the news that the sergeant major just died on the journey. So now, leadership shifts to Don, and all duties will be handed over to him.
Miles! Sergeant Miles!
Yes, sir. Get first platoon ready. You're working for him now. They can stand there and play.
Don's task is to save the captain's troops who are reportedly trapped in the enemy zone. Don is warned that this rescue mission will be very difficult. Besides having to enter an open area, the enemy is also known to possess anti-tank weapons, alias vehicles and guns that can penetrate their tanks. So if Don isn't neat in his work, this mission is the same as a suicide mission.
Jew. We got a platoon pinned down in this field by MGs.
All right, fuckstick. Mount up. Five small. Hey, mount up.
All this comp check.
145. 113 copies. Copies, Wilco. Copy.
Love 175. Everyone copy.
Minutes pass, and they arrive at the open area. With the help of some of the captain's men walking behind the tank, Don and his friends start entering the area slowly, and suddenly...
Watch your fucking space, you people.
Yes, there are enemy soldiers hiding underground. They use machine guns and high-speed tank rounds. Norman again annoys Don when he is late loading the ammo and seems to do it on purpose so as not to kill. But that doesn't become a problem, because in the end, Don and his friends manage to make them surrender.
So they don't stand up and shoot us in the ass! I'm gonna give up. I can't be here anymore. Come on, Tim.
After slaughtering all the enemies, there is one soldier still alive begging for his life. Seeing that soldier, Don immediately calls Norman out to be given some kind of... what do you call it? Some kind of mental education, where Norman is forced to finish off the soldier with his own hands. And this is what happens.
It's not right.
Wrong. We're here to kill them. He's here to kill you. You here to get me killed? You gonna get me killed?
No.
He kills you, or you kill him?
Stop!
Do it, Norman. Norman.
Seeing Norman sprawled out, Boyd immediately asks him to get up and invites him to join Grady and Gordo. Norman is offered hot coffee and calmed down by the three of them until Don appears and startles them from behind.
It's true.
After continuing the journey for about 3 hours, Don and the troops arrive at the small town in question, where, while they are questioning a civilian there, suddenly... After dealing with enemies hiding on the buildings, Don is again surprised by another enemy hiding in the basement. So Don's colleague, who is in the back, immediately fires a cannon and then... Done with that tension. Some of the remaining enemy soldiers finally surrender. Don and his friends can finally rest for a moment by enjoying some things available in this small town. One of them is women, where Don and Norman accidentally see someone hiding behind a window and decide to go in there to check. It turns out to be a woman who chose to stay hidden inside her house. Not alone, the woman lives with her niece, who was intentionally hidden under the bed so as not to be disturbed by Don and his friends. Luckily, Don is a figure unlike other soldiers who are easily provoked by lust, so the woman and her niece are only told to prepare food and fry some eggs for Don's meals. Unexpectedly, Norman turns out to be good at playing the piano and plays a song available there. The niece, named Emma, is immediately interested and starts singing. Accompanied by the piano music, Norman plays. Realizing Norman and Emma are the same age, Don tells the two of them to go into the bedroom. Confused about what to do, Norman reads the lines on Emma's palm, discusses stock developments and the world economy, and they also argue about socioculture, flora, and fauna, which finally makes them fall in love.
Nice.
Okay.
For a moment, Don can feel calm and peace in the middle of the war happening. Sitting at the dining table, serve tea that is still hot, cooked for by a woman, until Grady and the cronies appear and the atmosphere starts to break. The vibe that was calm instantly turns tense and annoying.
Did you?
You man, right? Get some
Anyone touches
Man,
this girl,
right?
they get their teeth kicked.
Fort Georgia right there. Touch. You a man, right? Get some pussy. You a man, right?
Right.
Donkey. Who did?
When Don tells everyone to sit quietly while enjoying the meal, Grady again acts annoyingly by licking Emma's fried eggs, so Don has to swap them. Not stopping there, Boyd and Gordo actually support Grady's actions by telling stories of the cruelty they've done during the war, as if wanting to ruin the appetite and provoke Don's emotions. So when Don's patience runs out, this is what happens. Not long after, a soldier appears to inform them about their next mission, where Norman tries to exchange addresses so he can send letters, but is quickly stopped by Grady. Just as they are all about to leave, the enemy fires a sudden attack that hits the building where Emma and her aunt live right on target.
I got him! Jesus Christ! Huh? What you going there? You gonna get shit?
On the journey to the next location, Don keeps watching Norman, who is spacing out, alias daydreaming, as if he still doesn't believe what he just saw. This is war. This is the real world. Norman uses the space for feelings too much in this matter, whereas in facing various worldly matters, we are required to use the space of logic so as not to cause deep anxiety and disappointment. Yeah, they are suddenly attacked by an enemy using an anti-tank cannon, where none of the shots Don and his friends fire manage to penetrate that tank.
What do you want, Tom?
Two tanks remain, Don's tank and Samson's tank. They use a spreading strategy to confuse the enemy.
Traverse left!
However, now only Don and his men are left. They have to think hard to face that anti-tank vehicle. Armed with experience, Don tells Gordo to aim for the rear of the tank, because that is where the layer is thinnest and most possible to penetrate. After the enemy falls, Norman is finally appreciated by everyone thanks to his action just now, having dared to fire a shot, also the first time he killed a person. Done with that, Don doesn't turn back. Instead, he continues the journey to the next mission location. While passing a small road with an abandoned farmhouse, their tank, Fury, runs over a mine, causing the track chain to break. Since it cannot be fixed by a regular technician or a conventional tire repair shop, they all have to get down and try to fix it with whatever tools are there.
Kid.
Because this area is in the middle of a route usually passed by the enemy, Norman is assigned to go to the hill to observe movement from afar. 1 hour of waiting, sitting and eating snacks, he suddenly hears the sound of footsteps in large numbers. And it turns out Norman immediately runs to tell Don that there is a battalion of German soldiers heading towards them, so there is no other choice for Don but to leave the tank Fury, which for years he has considered his own home.
Run before, I ain't running now.
What's that? We can't.
I'm gonna hold this crossroad.
Instead of running away immediately from the location, Don actually climbs on top of his tank and tells the others to go take cover immediately. Don is not a weak man who has experienced bad and terrible things for just a year or two. The tank Fury he is riding now is not just random scrap metal, but he considers it a symbol of struggle. Even if his life is at stake, Don will remain until the last drop of blood.
It's my home.
Seeing Don full of fortitude, Norman, who is notably the new guy, chooses to stay and accompany Don, followed by the others who also stay together in this tank.
We're gonna stay.
As a defense and attack strategy, they use a German soldier's corpse to be burned and placed on top of the tank. This aims to trick the coming battalion into thinking the tank has been abandoned. With the remaining ammunition left, it is actually impossible for them to face this 1 battalion of enemy soldiers. But with strong conviction and a bottle of liquor, Don and his friends recklessly continue this plan. According to the plan, when the enemy soldiers arrive, they climb onto the tank to check the inside. Armed with cannon shells and the machine gun held by Norman, they all start blindly shooting at everyone. The battalion of German soldiers scrambles to avoid the sudden attack.
They're running, traverse left! How's that?
When the cannon shells and ammo run out, they quickly throw smoke grenades so Boyd can grab the machine gun located on top of the tank, where Don and the others have to keep shooting to protect Boyd, who comes out of the top hatch. After the machine gun is successfully moved, the enemy soldiers start increasing the attack by using anti-tank missile launchers, where the soldier shoots it from the side. So this is what happens.
Traverse right!
Yes, Grady gets pierced by a bullet in his stomach and has to be the first person to die in this team. No time to grieve. Don and the others keep shooting until finally all ammunition is completely gone. Still not wanting to surrender, Don suggests they all use hand weapons like pistols, grenades, and others. When Don is already outside and continues firing, Gordo intends to throw a grenade, but is startled by an attack that makes the grenade slip and fall inside. Realizing the grenade is about to explode, Gordo quickly grabs it and sacrifices himself for Norman's safety.
Grenade!
Not only Gordo, Boyd also has to be the third person to die in this mission when his head sticks out. At the same time, an enemy sniper continues to stalk in the wet mud and manages to hit Don right in the upper chest. Only Don and Norman are left. Outside, the enemy starts approaching and climbing the tank. Norman looks very scared of this situation. This is fully realized by Don, who asks Norman to never surrender, because that would be more painful and terrible. Don tells Norman to go down through the escape hatch at the bottom of the tank, because he knows Norman is still young and still wants to live longer. When Norman gets out, Don dies by explosives the enemy throws inside. While Norman is lying down and pretending to be dead, a young German soldier spots him. But amazingly, thanks to God's help, he lets Norman stay there and doesn't tell his colleagues. The next morning, after being given a chance to live by God moving the heart of the enemy soldier last night, Norman goes back inside the tank to check on Don and his colleagues. However, suddenly someone opens the door from outside, which turns out...
One's alive.
Yes, it turns out to be American soldiers coming to rescue Norman. So after all the tension and nightmares he went through, Norman gains experience and a valuable lesson. That next time, if you want to go to war, bring lots of ammunition so you don't run out while in the field. So, the movie delivers a really grim but realistic message. War is absolute hell. It slowly eats away at your humanity and steals your innocence, basically forcing soldiers to ditch their normal morals just to survive. The story of this tank crew makes it clear that there's no romantic glory in battle. It's just trauma and violence that turns regular guys into killers. But in the middle of all that darkness, the one thing that actually shines through is their brotherhood and unconditional loyalty. True courage is proven when they're willing to sacrifice everything and die together just to protect each other, even when the situation is totally hopeless. And once again, thank you for watching. I'm Jack and I upload every single day to keep you company during your downtime. With that said, adios.